Welcome into TexAgs Rewind here, presented by T-Mobile on a Thursday. Thank you so much for watching. T-Mobile wants to remind you to visit T-Mobile.com/across America to learn more about how you can get value and coverage with T-Mobile. And looky here, we've got Tori Esprovoa with us.
Hello.
So I heard a little rumor today's your final show.
Yes, it is. It's last. It's it. It's done.
It's done. Well, I want to tell you, you've grown a lot in the 5 months that I've known you. You've done great work, and we're going to miss having you around.
Thank you. Yeah, this was definitely an experience, and I highly suggest anyone looking for an internship job or even getting knowledge in the industry to come check out TexAgs because it's actually incredible.
Great. Now I'm going to get 100 emails. I want to work. I want to be Tori. I want to be on the Source Center. 75-year-old guy. I want to come and do the show. No, you did great work. Today's show, a lot about recruiting, believe it or not. I wonder why. Brauny started off the show giving us his updates on everything happening. Stephen McGee stopped by studio. Always love getting him in here. We talked a little bull crap with him. We had Coach John Pierce in studio. Talked about his coaching days here at Texas A&M, his high school days as well, and his brand new book that you've got to check out. You'll love that. And Billy Liucci, somehow we were able to get him on the program. He gave us the latest and greatest on recruiting. It's another edition of TexAgs Rewind presented by T-Mobile.
Brauny, there are, Evan's one of, I guess, 4 really big targets out there. Denver Harris, Shamar Stewart, Harold Perkins. How confident are you for A&M to get each of those or all 4? I mean, that's probably asking, to be dealt 4 aces at the poker table, asking for a lot. But, what do you think about the chances of getting each of those individually?
Well, Owen, I go back a couple of weeks where we spoke about, if everything falls the right way with this recruiting class, you could end up with not only the number 1 group in the country, but the number 1 group of all time. And things never go, exactly the way you want them to in recruiting. But if you were to ask me individually about each of those kids, I'd still say A&M is the leader. And that's pretty incredible to say after what transpired yesterday, right? Like, you just signed the number 1 class. You've got a commit out there that you're waiting on the paperwork, like we mentioned. But when you're not just him, but the guys you mentioned, Olin and Shamar Stewart, Harold Perkins, and Denver Harris, one of those national top 20 guys in the country. So, you've made this big, beautiful cake, and you've got it ready, and then you've got the 3 most glorious cherries to put on top to finish it off. It really is. It's just that extra icing on the cake if you're able to do this. But, I like what you said, Olin, about, this is, or maybe David, you said it, this is how you win championships. Like, this is what it takes, and you need those 3 cherries on top, because if you don't get them, maybe Georgia, LSU, Texas, Alabama, they're going to get them. So I know this A&M coaching staff under Jimbo Fisher won't ever rest on their laurels in recruiting, and they've got to go finish this thing despite what they just did yesterday.
Hey, Brauny, clear up some Denver Harris stuff. I think his situation might be similar to Evan, where people thought he was going to sign yesterday. There was some thoughts he could, and now it looks like he's going to decide after the championship game. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yeah, Sam Kahn reported yesterday. He reported the same thing that we had gotten. My intern Walker Lott was actually on the ground there at North Shore. They had a signing day ceremony for a couple of their guys. Denver was out there and he was present. And he told Sam Kahn that he plans on signing in this early window and then announcing on Saturday, either before or after the state championship game. Now, North Shore plays Duncanville at 3 o'clock at AT&T Stadium on Saturday. So that'll be a something to watch before and after the game, and then obviously during the game. That's the 3rd time's a charm maybe for Duncanville in a matchup between 2 of Texas powerhouses in 6A Division I. So, the game itself was going to generate a lot of views and eyeballs, David, but now when you add on top of it potentially a announcement of a signing from one of the top players in the country, it makes everything a little bit more intriguing.
I'm going to go off the grid. I'm going to say what's bullcrap is NIL. I'm scared to know what the future of college football holds. Here's my thought. in the NFL, the highest paid quarterback gets, generally speaking, 4 times as much as the highest paid coach. So let's say it's $40 million for the quarterback and roughly 12, I don't know what Belichick makes, million for the coach.
Right.
All right. There is no doubt the emphasis on the quarterback position is the most important position in all of sports. There is zero arguing that. In college football, what's the price tag currently for the best quarterback that will be back next year?
Was it like $2.5 million?
Maybe. Well, now it's
sounds like I'm hearing $4 million for.
now. I'm hearing $4 million for a recruit that's never even played it down.
Yeah.
So my point is, if we're paying a coach $11, $12 million a year, where does the price tag go from here? We're talking about a great quarterback on our roster. What do we have to do to just keep Wagman on the roster? Do we pay him $2-3 million just to keep him as a backup quarterback? Is that the market? Is that where we're headed? It scares me, honestly. If you're willing to pay a quarterback $4 million or every scholarship offensive lineman $50,000, where does it end? And ultimately, it becomes a monopoly, right? It's going to be the who's who, the big 4 programs, and everyone else. So the legal system has created a monopoly in which they try to break up in the real world, right? In the markets, the Amazons, the major tech companies. And so to me, it's just there's pro sports and there's college sports, and I don't know.
I agree with you, and I don't know how you fix it, and I don't know if you can fix it now.
3 years I was here, we had the top class in then the Southwest Conference each year, and some great players. But I think my recruiting experience, if I had to go back, probably the best guy I ever recruited here was Sam Adams, who was an All-American here, I think twice, and number 1 draft choice in the pros. And also, it's probably my most unusual recruiting experience because in those days, you could take the head coach to the player's home one time. That's it. And so, and I think the assistant coaches go 3 or 4 times. So anyway, I'd been in Sam Adams' home and met his parents, and they were phenomenal. I mean, what parents? I mean, they loved that kid, and they wanted the best for him. And they blew me away by how good a family and sweet a family it was. So I made a coaching decision that I've never done before and never done since, and I took RC to have a home visit with him. It was one shot when Sam Adams was visiting USC. Sam wasn't even there. But I took RC to a Pee Wee football game that Sam's younger brother was playing in. And Big Sam, that's what we call him, Big Sam, Little Sam, Big Sam and his wife got to sit with RC through the whole ball game and then a home visit. And normally a head coach would have maybe an hour max with a player in it. He got 4.5 hours. Wow. And when it was over with, he had done such a phenomenal job selling Sam, Big Sam, that it was over. And so we got Little Sam, and Big Sam told me later, said that experience, because we came in without, the kid there, was the most sincere thing he had seen. So I took a great chance. RC probably would have fired me if we had got him.
Yeah.
But RC did such a great job with him that we got Big Sam, Little Sam, got Big Sam too.
How are you feeling about Harold Perkins in the future, Billy?
Good, but gosh, talk about what's that competition going to be like? As there's only a few guys left, and look, again, this is a prospect that I can promise you A&M's trying to get to sign, even though he's not announcing till later. They're trying to get him to sign the early period. So is LSU, so is Texas. I mean, that's what everybody's doing right now. But if he's out there, and if Shamar Stewart's out there, guys that good in January, all of a sudden they get recruited exponentially more than they already were, because they become such priorities and such high value targets, even more so than they were before. So I like A&M's chances though with Perk. And again, this class, everybody wants to talk about it. They want to talk about around the country. They're talking about things like NIL. They're saying how they did it at 8 and 4. The thing is, Jimbo gets a lot of respect and credit because you look at his track record, what he's always done as a recruiter. This is not the first time, I don't believe, that he's inked a number 1 class. So, but people talk about the changing landscape and this and that. This is about most of these guys A&M signed. Go look at the amount of time they recruited them. Most of them. You're talking about a lot of these guys are 2 full years. And that's normal, right? Really, that's normal. They recruit guys from when they're juniors. Yeah, but look at the turnover in Austin. Look at the turnover in Norman. Look at the turnover in Baton Rouge. Your 3 natural recruiting rivals. Guys on those staffs that were trying to close out and finish these kids did not have the same relationship. And even at Florida, because you're recruiting the heck out of the Southeast. You look at like a Shamar Turner, you look at Florida and Miami and the dysfunction at Florida State. So consistency at the top in Jimbo Fisher. Almost every one of these coaches has been here multiple, if not several years now. And that's why they were able to survive the Mike Elko loss, was because just look, stability. That is non-existent at a lot of these programs, and it's especially true at your three biggest recruiting rivals. So I think that played a big role in this too. And I think if you sat back and went and looked at all those names, and you go, damn, that's true. A lot of these guys have been recruited since they were sophomores by the same head coach and the same assistant coaches at A&M. And there's also a lag effect, David, that comes from they went 9-1 last year. Then they had the whole off season of build up. They lost a couple games to Mississippi State and Arkansas and kind of fell off. And then all of a sudden came Bama. So throughout these kids' almost entire recruitment, right, it's been, what are you doing? It's been the same coaches, and it's been A&M propped up as one of the more talked about programs in college football. So that's what you're seeing. That's why this class was kind of the perfect storm. I would say I wonder what they could have done if they would have gone, 10-2 or 11-1 this year, but I don't think it would have been much different.
All right, Tori. I want you in an accent. I don't care what accent you use. It could be British, it could be Spanish, it could be whatever, to tell everybody what to do.
After you watch this video, you should go comment, favorite part, like, and then smash that subscribe button.
This is really good. I wish you would have done social updates like that. That would have been awesome. Thank you. Did I just embarrass you on your last day?
No, you're good.
Yeah, she likes to sing at karaoke as well.
Nope, so does he.
No, not at all. Bye.